afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today, guys, I want to do another quick video, and I do mean quick, about kind of hot tubs and a couple things to think about before you purchase one, or if you're in the market for purchasing one. You know, just it's kind of good to know information, right? And the reason I'm doing this video is just, you guys know I put up all kinds of different content, and one of the questions that does get mentioned and people kind of spout off about is the voltage on plug-and-play hot tubs. And there's a lot of misinformation, or a lot of comments that just are frankly incorrect. Now, again, I'm not an electrician, I'm not an expert, but from what I've read and what I've been mainly read, honestly, and based on some of my common sense, which if I do make a mistake, by all means, I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes from time to time, but it's about the again, the plug and play hot tubs, the ones that you're mainly going to find at Costco. Now, you guys know I've had my Costco hot tub for, I believe we're coming on almost 4 years now. I got so many comments in the beginning. It is a popular video about, you know, what to expect when buying a hot tub from Costco. Mainly the videos are meant to be helpful because when you buy a hot tub that is a plug-and-play model, and, you know, I use that word a little loosely, or that phrase a little loosely, because plug-and-play models can still be hardwired, of course, depending on the model. But I never expected the hot tub trolls to come out the woodwork telling me why that's a garbage tub and why I'm going to get 6 months out of it. You know, absolutely ridiculous. People just always say things that just are incorrect. You guys know on this channel, any good information is always welcome, but people just say things that just simply are not true. So one of the things, again, putting the quality aside, this video isn't about whether you should or shouldn't buy one. You know, first, right off the bat, just I want you guys to know, though, check out my other videos if you are in the market and you stumble upon this video, maybe looking for information on the Costco hot tubs. That's not what this video is mainly about. But as far as my hot tub, I have an Aquaterra Adriana. I bought it for $2,200. with tax, shipped to my door, and I've done a couple of videos on what to expect, because there's a difference between buying a hot tub from a big box store, whether it be Costco or BJ's or you know, Walmart, or there's lots of these big box stores actually sell hot tubs. Even if you don't go to the store and you can't see them or you can't pick them up from the store, a lot of them, you know, sell them and they just are, you know, have it drop shipped, right? And that's pretty much what Costco does on their Aquaterra spas. Or I think any spa. You might live in an area where you might find one on the floor, but I think it's pretty unlikely. At least in my area, never seen one there. So, I mean, the price is right, amazing value. And the reason why I chose Aquaterra, again, was first and foremost the price, but also the fact that it was plug and play, and it could be converted to 220. And I've mentioned it before in other videos. When I first got the tub, I said, oh, I'm going to have to get an electrician in or figure out how to put in a 220 line. Electricians charge about $1,800, depending on where you live. The standard rate is going to be around $1,200 to $1,800, maybe more, to put in a 220 line. Mine was really simple. I mean, we're only talking about 15 to 20 feet from the breaker box, which is on the adjacent wall where the tub is. So absolutely ridiculous. These guys, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a ripoff, you know, but I mean, guys do not work for $20 an hour. Now, if you have a friend who's an electrician, that might be really beneficial. What I ended up doing was just running it 110 to give it a chance. And you know, and believe it or not, you know, my coworker was just like, you know, before you go through the hassle of, you know, switching it over to 220 and putting in the line, why don't you try it at 110 first? See if you like it. It might be completely adequate for you. And I'm really glad I did, because I have really no complaints with a 110 powered hot tub. Now, as far as the what to expect when it comes to that, you do have to have a dedicated breaker or dedicated circuit. So you don't want to plug this hot tub into the same circuit you know, plug your weed whacker in, if it's an electric weed whacker, or you know, or if you're on the same circuit as a refrigerator, or whatever you may have, depending on your house. It needs to be a dedicated circuit, a 15 amp breaker. With my case, I had a 20 amp breaker in the back of my garage. That was actually for a central vac system that I didn't use anymore. I just use an upright vac. The piping's all still in the house. Anybody ever wanted to put it back, you know, you can do that. But in my case, it was a really easy way for me to just tap into that line, tap into that, convert the outlet to a just another hard, you know, hard-lined wire, and put in an outlet box outside the adjacent wall. It cost me about $50 in materials, and I did it myself. Super easy. I'm pretty handy when it comes to that stuff. Your skill set may be completely different. Your comfort level, that's totally fine. Always do it the safe thing, what makes you feel comfortable. For me, $50 was a lot better than $1,800 if I had to pay a guy to put it in. Now, even if a guy were to just put in a regular 110 line, I'm sure it still would have been about $1,000. So these guys do not work for $20 an hour. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if you do have a outlet in your house where you're saying, hey, it's a perfect spot to get this tub, I'm going to plug it in right at this outlet on my back porch, or my back patio, wherever it may be, you can do that even if that circuit has other outlets on the circuit. But make sure you cap off the other outlets or the other devices so you don't use them. You don't want to have your hot tub trying to pull a demand of 15 amps if it's a 50. And these hot tubs, at least the one I have, is a 1500 watt heater. You don't want to be having that thing trying to pull the full 1500 watts when you have a 700 watt heater on that circuit as well. So that's why they want a dedicated circuit. That dedicated circuit doesn't necessarily have to not have outlets on it, but it needs to be the only thing on the circuit. So in my case, I had an outlet in the backyard that unfortunately fed a lot of my backyard landscape lights, my ponds, and of course that circuit, that outlet is also hooked up to the circuit where my microwave and refrigerator is on, so I couldn't use that box. So I had to have a separate box, and the central vac breaker worked perfect. It was a dedicated outlet specifically for the vacuum. I took the vacuum out, again hardwired it, and now I have in this case, a 20 amp breaker for the hot tub only. So that worked out great. Your situation may be different. Now, getting back to the efficiency argument. A lot of people, I got a comment today, and this is why I wanted to put up this video. A guy said, yeah, you can do the 110 thing, nothing wrong with it, but it's going to cost you, about $2 extra. I think he said per week, something like that. Basically, he was making the argument that a 110 is less efficient than a 220. And the problem with that is that that's not really true. And you get a lot of misinformation about that. People say that if you have a 220, it's a lot more efficient. And the word efficient is sort of true, but it's being used in the wrong context. It's efficient in how quickly it heats up and keeps the water hot. It's not efficient in the amount of money you spend on the power. Wattage is wattage. Now, 220 does draw half the amperage of 110, but your electric company does not charge you based on amperage. They charge you based on wattage. So, like anything else that draws wattage and you're trying to heat something, the hot tub in my case, and most of them are kind of similar to this, if you have it on a 110 plug and play, you're looking at a 1500 watt heater. In my case, when you turn the hot tub on to number 2 speed, which is 2 speeds on the pump, which is the speed you want to get in, you feel the jets, that kind of thing. And that's how most people use their tubs. If you put it on that speed, it automatically takes the power and converts it to the pump. So when you're on speed 1, it's kind of a low circulation. The heater's on, heating at 1500 watts. The moment you put the hot tub in jet mode or high, it cuts the heating. So while you're in the tub, you're actually losing warmth. So there is a little bit of an efficiency argument there. If you do have it on 220 or you have it hardwired for a 220 line, the heater will stay on when the pumps are on because it has the extra voltage or the extra wattage in this case, right? I believe I'm saying that right. So great, good thing if you live in an area with really cold weather and you use your hot tub often. If you get in the tub, when you're in there, for instance, when it's really cold, let's say in the 30s, if I get in the hot tub and I keep it at max, which is 104, in about an hour, it's going to drop about 1 to 2 degrees in the really cold weather. That's about it. And really, you probably shouldn't be in a hot tub of 104 degrees longer than an hour. An hour is really more than enough time. So in that time frame, the temperature drops about 2 degrees. As soon as I put the cover on it and turn it off and put it in low mode, the heater starts heating the water again at 1500 watts, and it doesn't take a long time to really get it heated back up to temperature. I don't know the exact figure as far as how long, but it's not long at all. It's not like 24 hours or anything like that, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. For normal use, I found that it doesn't really make a difference at all. Now, again, it would be nice to have the thing constantly cover off. You could leave the cover off, have the pumps running on high if you're having a barbecue or I don't know, I'm just giving you kind of an example of why you might keep the cover completely off the tub when you're not using it. Let's say you're having a little party, but even in my case, if nobody's in it, there's really no reason to have the jets on high. So you'd have to really have a situation where you had a lot of people using the tub throughout the day to really bring that temperature down. Now, in really cold weather, if you have the cover off and you're running at 1500 watts and it's heating, I'm sure it's still going to heat the water, but a lot less efficiency because you're losing that temperature, right? As soon as you put the cover on, and that's how most of them work, it's really going to maintain temperature or heat back up really well. So it's, for me personally, I've never, based on my usage, about an hour at a time, I've never had a situation where I say, oh man, I really wish I could use more heat. You know, it's not like getting in a tub, sitting in there for about an hour, and the water becomes cool. It doesn't quite work the same way with a hot tub. That water stays pretty hot for a decent amount of time. And I think an hour's worth of soak time is more than enough to drop a couple degrees, which you really don't feel. Again, no complaints on my end from this tub. It's been super reliable. The other reason I chose a Costco hot tub was because these are not really state-of-the-art, high-tech NASA space shuttles. Like I joke around all the time. If you look at most jet tubs in a home, most jet tubs in most houses are pretty basic. There's a pump, right? There's jets and there's tubing. Now, granted, hot tubs are out in the elements more, but they are protected by a case. They are insulated most of the time. And, you know, these things this is not something you really have to be too concerned with failing. You know, these things are mass produced. And what I like about the Aquaterra spas, you don't have a fiberglass shell. You have more of like I believe it's like a polyurethane or some sort of material that does have a little bit of flex to it. You know, fiberglass is pretty rigid. And I like the fact that this tub is extremely durable. You know, you're not going to have it's not going to crack on you. You know, it's like almost like a pond liner. They're extremely durable. So I really like that feature as well. Now, getting back to the 220. Again, now here's where the efficiency comes in. The word efficiency should be used in terms of how quick it heats the water, how efficient it is at heating the water. When you're running 220, not only are you running, you know, whether the pump's on high or low, you're running at 4,000 watts as opposed to 1,500 watts. So roughly, that's going to heat the water about, you know, in a third the time, right? But it's not really very important in my eyes because if you're drawing 4,000 watts, you're still using the wattage. So unless, of course, you know, like I said, you're going to be using this tub with the cover off for hours and hours and hours, I just don't see the point in, you know, putting it out to having it hardwired for 220. Now, if I did have a 220 outlet ready to go, I most likely would have done that just for the ability to have that efficiency factor of being able to just have the thing always maintain temperature. It'll never drop under 104. It'll always stay at temperature. But where I live, you know, we get pretty mild winters. It depends. Sometimes it gets, you know, sometimes we get snow, sometimes we don't. It's not, for my usage, an hour is more than enough, and dropping 2 degrees is really, again, I don't even notice the difference. Now, there has been times since I've owned the tub that I've been in there for a couple hours, to be honest with you. When I first got it, I would spend a lot of time in it, right? And man, feel pretty woozy getting out of it. But even being in there for that amount of time, let's say you're chilling, entertaining, in and out of the tub, that kind of thing, even in that amount of time, it would drop about 4 degrees. And that's really a lot of usage. And the weather has to be pretty cold for that to happen. So, again, it really comes down to your usage and what you want to spend your money on, what you feel comfortable. But as far as saving you money every month, you're not really going to save any money. There's not the efficiency. It's not like you're spending $30 a month for having a hot tub and using it based on the usage that you do, and you're suddenly going to cut your bills in half when it comes to the hot tub usage. It doesn't work that way. If you're, you know, it may be very fast at heating that water, efficient in that regard, but you are also drawing 3 times the power. You're drawing 4,000 watts as opposed to 1,500 watts. It's just like a dryer. You know, a dryer is just going to dry. If you have a 110 dryer, or like a simple plug and play, it's like anything else. It's gonna take a lot longer to dry your clothes as opposed to if you had something at 220 that's running at higher wattage and producing more heat. And that's really the only difference. So again, it really comes down to your usage and what you really want to spend your money on and feel comfortable with. But rest assured, if you're going to invest the money to have an electrician come in, again, you're going to have a hot tub guy come in, unless you're pretty handy to change the jumpers over. I believe they're called jumpers, to convert the motherboard on the tub or the circuit board to 220. It isn't just something you just simply change the plug. There is a sort of a setting in there you have to change. And I would want to make sure you're, you know, brand new $2,000 hot tub, you know what you're doing. And most people are probably going to hire an electrician and have a random hot tub guy come in from town, which you're going to have to deal with him being like, you know, he's gonna probably, if he doesn't sell the tub, he's gonna turn around and start tell you why you made a bad decision. Because I feel a lot of the guys that get commenting about the Aquaterra and big box, you know, plug and play hot tubs that are sold at places like Costco. Generally, the guys making these comments on here about how the hot tubs are really poor quality are guys who either sell these things or own hot tub shops. So again, with my experience, there's always got to be good and bad experience with anything. I can tell you, a guy commented the other day. He said, I've had my Aquaterra spa for 23 years. It's worked perfectly just like the day I got it. I can tell you my story. My hot tub has worked perfectly since the day I got it. We're coming on 4 years here. It's fantastic. I love it. It was a great value. And to be very honest with you, I just like watches, when it comes to spending my money on things, I couldn't rationalize spending $8,000 on a hot tub, right? That's the price of a car. I would never rationalize that. But for the price, for $2,200, it really brings a lot of enjoyment into my home, into my backyard, and it's definitely a win-win situation for me. So hope that was helpful as in terms of you know, power. I always tell people, if you're looking to get, and there's a lot of people like me, otherwise there wouldn't be Aquaterra wouldn't be as successful as they are. These companies wouldn't sell these hot tubs. One thing I want to note too is when it comes to Costco, Costco is very selective about the products they choose. For those who don't know, and I don't know how Costco works through policies now, but Costco's policy for years, and I believe there are slight changes, but it was that if you were unhappy at any time with anything you purchased from Costco, you can return it. I returned a plasma TV I had that was acting up that I had for about 3 years, and Costco basically, no extra warranty. Costco looked it up. They said, what's wrong with it? I said, you know, I'm just not happy with it. You know, the color is not as good as when I got it. They said, no problem. They gave me the full $2,300 back, and I went and bought a different TV. So they really try to take care of the customer, and the reason they do that is because they purchase. Costco would not purchase things that are absolutely garbage, so they're going to have to deal with customers being upset about it, right? Costco purchases things and decides to buy things based on, you know, the quality and the longevity. Now, I'm not saying you can't get something that's you're going to have bad luck with. That can happen with anything. But Costco really takes care of their customer, and you know, I haven't had to deal with anything, but I can tell you my experience with the TV, and if I had a problem with this hot tub, I'm sure Costco would do something. Even if they didn't, the fact of the matter is these are not really high-tech items. You know, this is very simple tubing, jets, a pump, and a heater. This is not something like a brand new Lexus engine in your car. This is not overly complicated, and definitely something that can easily be fixed and repaired. Other guys are like, oh, you can't find. One guy stated, oh, you buy this, you can't find parts for it. You know, that can be said with anything. Not every part is going to be readily available at your local mom and pop hot tub shop. It's no different. If you have a situation with an Aquaterra spa that pops up down the road and you have to get it fixed, unless you have a shop that says, hey, we're not working on anything we don't sell, which is definitely something that you might find happen, there's going to be somebody. Aquaterra is not a stupid company. They're going to find some repair shop that's contracted to work, or somebody they recommend to work on their tubs. Sure, if you're not going to do it yourself, just like any mom and pop shop, they're not going to come out 5 years later and be like, oh, really, Joe Schmo? You have a problem with your hot tub? Oh, there's no warranty with it? Great, we're going to fix it for free. They're going to charge you. So it's no different with anything. Just because you buy from a local shop, unless they have you spend 10 grand on a hot tub, unless they have some kind of extra warranty, most warranties are 1 to 2 years on hot tubs, you know, that I've seen, right? And that's most things out there. So again, there are exceptions to every rule. Maybe there are some hot tubs that have insane warranties, but are you paying insane prices for them? You know, it's like the old Rolex argument. You know, you're paying $20,000 for a watch. Yeah, it's going to last you a lifetime, but let's not forget, you're going to take it in and service it once a year for $600. It's like anything else. You maintain things, you take care of them. You know, you can have good and bad luck with anything. And I can tell you, for the price, you know, I mean, this hot tub has been absolutely fantastic. Does it have, you know, the most powerful jets out there? No, you know, it doesn't. It's got it's a simple designed hot tub. It's an entry-level hot tub. If you're looking for something that's really therapeutic, I wouldn't recommend the one that I have. The jets are not overly powerful, right? But if you're used to going to, like for me, I always got really excited just going to a hotel with their basic hot tub, right? And what do you normally find that? You don't really find therapeutic hot tubs in hotels. You find basically a big hole in the ground, a big concrete hole, hot water, and a few jets you can move your back on. You know, there's not 50 different jets for your spine. You know, these are different. There's different hot tubs for everybody. And for me, I just want something where you're going to feel some jets on your back, really get in there, have that outdoor bathing experience, let the heat work on your muscles, and for me, it's been a fantastic tub, and I love it, and I highly recommend it. So don't let any of these knuckleheads tell you, Go into a mom and pop shop, they're probably going to tell you why, oh, I wouldn't buy that. But I'm sure they're going to have something on their floor that is a plug and play kind of injection molded style hot tub. Most companies do. Most mom and pop shops still carry the entry level stuff. They're just going to charge you twice as much for it. Again, not saying that's every company, but I'll tell you that most plug and play hot tubs I've seen, like at fairgrounds and these different shows they put on different places, usually you don't get into a hot tub for under $5,000, and those hot tubs are no different than the one I got. So huge markup. You pay for mom and pop stores. Again, support who you like, support local business, whatever makes you ultimately happy. For me, I could care less about local business. I'm really about what's going to give me the best deal, what's going to give me the most longevity. Because ultimately, local businesses, no matter where you go, time is money, and they're still going to charge no matter what happens. You are a customer, but they don't do freebies. Again, you might have a good friend who owns a hot tub. Maybe he'll take care of you on it, but most places won't. And so that's really no different with anywhere. Yeah, a lot of guys will say, oh man, you're going to have to deal with delivering that yourself. One guy commented, oh, I'm oversimplifying the delivery process. Yeah, my door was wide enough to get the hot tub through. The common sense should tell you, yeah, may not be your door. That's not oversimplifying the delivery process. I'm explaining my process, what I went through, what I did to get the hot tub in my backyard. You may have a backyard, you got to wheel it around on a dolly. Everybody's situation is different, and that really should be common sense. I shouldn't have to say that, but unfortunately, common sense is not all that common. So if you guys do have any questions and I can help you in any kind of way, as I always say, I'm more than happy to do so. I'll give you my best educated guess. If I don't know, I'll give you the information based on my experiences. And but again, I think the brand is great, and I think if you're looking for an entry-level hot tub that's going to get the job done, Aquaterra is your brand, and so is Costco. So thanks for watching, guys. Drop me a comment, drop me an email, do subscribe to the channel, and take care.